All right, let's talk about something that's going to sound completely backward. I mean, what if I told you that the best way to absolutely demolish someone's passion, to crush their creative spirit, is to give them a reward? I know, it sounds crazy, right? We're always trying to figure out how to motivate people, how to spark that creative fire. But what if the very tool we reach for most often, a bonus, a prize, a gold star, is actually the poison? And believe it or not, this isn't just a wild theory. It's a proven psychological trap. Today, we're diving deep into the science of the ultimate creativity killer. And hey, if you're into ideas that flip your thinking upside down, you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next. So, to really get our heads around this, let's start with a true story. Well, a famous experiment. It's known as the candle problem, and it looks simple, but it brilliantly exposes a major flaw in how we think about motivation. Okay, picture this. I put you in a room. On a table, there's a candle, a box of thumbtacks, and a book of matches. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to fix that candle to the wall so that when you light it, no wax drips onto the table. That's it. So, take a second. How would you do it? So, got an answer? If you're like most people, you probably tried to tack the candle directly to the wall, or maybe melt the side of it and stick it on like glue. Both good tries, but they don't work. The real solution, the aha moment, comes when you stop seeing the box as just a container for the tacks. You have to see it as a platform. You dump out the tacks, pin the box to the wall, and place the candle right inside. It's the definition of out-of-the-box thinking. Okay, now here is where it gets wild. Researchers did this experiment with two groups. Group A was just asked to solve it. They were told, we're just timing you to find an average. Group B, on the other hand, they were offered money. The fastest person gets a cash prize, a classic incentive. So who do you think solved it faster? The ones with the cash on the line? Obviously, right? Wrong. Not even close. On average, the group that was offered the cash prize took a full 3.5 minutes longer to solve the puzzle. I mean, let that sink in. 3.5 minutes. The reward didn't just not help, it actively made them worse. It was a performance killer. And the reason is fascinating. The promise of a reward narrowed their focus. It put blinders on them. They were so fixated on the prize that their brains just couldn't see the creative, sideways solution sitting right there. All right, so that's a brain teaser puzzle for adults. But what about something more purely creative, like art? For that, we turn to another amazing story. This time about a group of little kids who just loved to draw. And if you're finding this as fascinating as I do, this is a great time to make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on more deep dives like this one. So, a psychologist named Teresa Amabile found a bunch of preschoolers who are naturally passionate about drawing. You know, the kids who would always run to the art table during free time. She split them into 3 groups. Group 1 was the promised reward group. They were shown a cool certificate and told, if you draw a picture, you get one of these. Group 2 was the surprise reward group. They just drew, and then, surprise, they got the certificate afterward. And Group 3, the control group, just drew. No reward, no fuss. So fast forward a week. The researchers just watched the kids during their regular free play time to see what they do. And the results? Well, look at this chart. It's staggering. The kids who got a surprise reward, or no reward at all, they were still drawing like crazy, just as much as before. But the kids who were promised that reward, their interest in drawing plummeted. They just weren't that into it anymore. So what happened? The reward changed everything. It took an activity they loved, an act of pure play, and it turned it into a job. It became a transaction. I do this to get that. The joy wasn't in the drawing anymore. It was in the prize. And once the prize was gone, so was the motivation. Okay, so we've seen smart adults get stumped by a simple puzzle and creative kids lose their love for art, all because a reward was dangled in front of them. So what is the deal? What's the hidden psychological mechanism that makes this happen? Well, let's pull back the curtain. There's a name for this phenomenon, and it's called the over-justification effect. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is actually pretty simple. When you start doing something you already enjoy, you have a perfectly good reason. I do this because it's fun. But when someone offers you an external reward, money, a prize, your brain hijacks that logic. It over-justifies your behavior, pushing out the original internal reason and replacing it with the external one. You know, it really boils down to 2 kinds of motivation. There's intrinsic motivation, which is that fire inside you. You do it because you love the challenge, the fun, the passion. The work is the reward. And then there's extrinsic motivation. That's all the external stuff, the paycheck, the trophy, avoiding getting in trouble. The work is just a step to get something else. The over-justification effect is that dangerous switch from playing for the love of the game to playing just for the trophy. So why do these expected rewards backfire so spectacularly? Well, first, they're a huge distraction. Your focus shifts from solving the problem to just getting the prize. They also kill your passion. And they make you feel controlled, like a puppet on a string, which drains all the joy out of it. It can even make you lazy, encouraging you to take the easiest path, not the most creative one. You become dependent on that external pat on the back.
Okay, so we've spent all this time talking about the creativity killer and what doesn't work. So let's flip this around. If if-then rewards are so bad for creative thinking, how do you actually light a fire under someone? How do we motivate real, lasting creativity in ourselves and in others?
Well, the secret isn't a bigger carrot or a sharper stick. The secret is to tap into the powerful motivations that are already baked into our human DNA. It comes down to three things: autonomy, that feeling of being in the driver's seat of your own life; mastery, the deep satisfaction of getting better and better at something you care about; and purpose, the desire to be part of something bigger than yourself. And that's the big takeaway right there. That inner drive, that spark of curiosity and joy, is an incredibly powerful engine, but it's also fragile. And we have to be careful not to smother it with external rewards. We have to protect it. That internal motivation is the real prize. If you agree, let me know by hitting that like button. And of course, make sure you're subscribed. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Now that you know about this creativity-killing trap, look around at your own life, at your work, with your kids, even with yourself. What are you actually rewarding? Are you just focused on the outcome, maybe accidentally killing the passion along the way? Or are you finding ways to nurture the process, the effort, and the pure joy of creating? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.